phone calls or texts at 888-993-7762.
I'm gonna miss eating that almond joy donut. I just may end up having to cheat like once every 6 weeks or so.
But we got to figure that out because I really asked, like, what
That's
can I
worth
bring
a
in?
cheat day.
Maybe a third of it.
Still go half.
And Steve chiming in, Smash Hits 94.5. Leave his coach out of our mouth. Yeah, they don't want to leave.
Who will?
Yeah. Nate on that one.
Well.
Larry and Monroe. Larry Monroe says Will may be the bad boy on people's hate list, but now with NIL, Will looks like the smartest college coach on the planet.
I think the smartest thing that Will has done is he knows who wants to butter his roll. He knows where he's loved.
I think there's part of it. Go where you are loved, no doubt about it. It's just okay.
I don't know.
All right, and now here's my rant. You
Is
go through.
NC State that much better of a job?
Yes, it is. It is.
Apparently, they didn't pony up.
It is. It is that much better of a job. But here's the thing, and I get through, and all right, here's my rant for the morning.
Nick, is it? They've got 1-5-4 in the last 4, buddy. We've got to get out of 1983, and people tend to forget how they did Valvano a few years later when it got a little choppy.
A personal fouls. I read the book. Great one. You know the player. One of the players mentioned in that book, Andy Kennedy. Andy Kennedy went to the Coliseum, and they had his name on the message board, on the video board when he went in. Oh, boy, Charles Shackelford, what a team. But here's the thing. I will ask the most intelligent audience in all of sports radio that are not LSU fans. So if you're an LSU fan, I always value your opinion, no doubt about it. Like, Tabor didn't even notice. So, like, today we're streaming on the Nick Brown Show YouTube channel as well as Nick Brown Show Facebook. But actually, the quarter-inch, I brought it purple for you in LSU or Simsboro. So you failed to notice that what is in your studio. And I actually ran it so it would not intrude on any of your collection that you have in the studio. So all of this is out of the way. But I ask you this, Preacher Man, is NC State a better job than LSU?
I think it's a better job. Is it a crazy better job? It's not the level of job like LSU football is, triple the NC State football job. I think, but it's things. I look at things like, okay, at NC State, you're probably 1 or 1A as far as their fans' interest. You have a bigger alumni base. Their school's endowment is over double what LSU's is. So you've got some things like that in your favor, but you're still the biggest disadvantage to me is you're way behind North Carolina and Duke. And at LSU, you're not behind. And you look at the surrounding area. I mean, Texas A&M's not some basketball powerhouse. Mississippi State, Ole Miss. So, your big powerhouse is north of you in Arkansas. So he's got a good area where he can. There's always going to be good athletes. I don't think Louisiana high school basketball it's okay, but there's a lot of good athletes in Louisiana high school basketball. So, yeah, I could see him having as much success at LSU that he would have at NC State, maybe even quicker. But, I mean, historically, you put those two together, most people I think are going to go, oh, yeah, NC State's a better job. But I don't know that it's – and like you said, coming to a place where he's loved.
You're changing. You're going from the preacher man to the politician.
No, I'm just saying I get it why he's coming. I get it. I get it why he's coming. He
didn't hear that.
They both asked you.
No,
I'm asking for your money, right?
I'm not asking. That's between you and God.
Get
low-hanging fruit on that one.
Yes. All right, I'm going to turn the page really quick and go. You look at it now. What in the world? All right, I'm going to talk about Mark Chestnut, the most underrated country music artist of the 90s. I want to say the most underrated SEC baseball coach. And that was evident last night with their victory over LSU.
Are you going to Nick Mangione?
I am. I think
hard to argue.
And you look at it, and I will tell you, all the changes in Baton Rouge, maybe you go looking. Jay Johnson right now is 2-0 for totally predicting that Paul Maneri would be out of a job. Who knew it would be just a few hours after we went off the air on that? So great job for that. But South Carolina's at the bottom at 1-6, Missouri 1-6, LSU 2-5. Congrats to Alabama last night, their victory over Auburn. But leading the SEC right now, Texas at 6-2. We're talking baseball.
It's real simple. I'm probably going to owe both Sean Fox and AJ Siggers a meal. You know, I made a lunch bet with both of them. I just told them, look, man, y'all come to Ruston on the same day so I can get you both. There's just something that is just missing.
You think that Johnson will be relieved of his duties?
No.
Well, then what are you going to owe them lunch for?
For not making it to Omaha.
You wagered LSU would go to Omaha
preseason.
Okay, can we blame your illness as an excuse
No,
that you were not
no. I went on talent. And I even stuck to my guns for a few weeks, but I'm starting now. The fort's getting bombarded pretty heavily, and just may not be their year.
Speaking of talent, let's go to the Origin Bank hotline. We've got Quint. Good morning, Quint. How are you?
Doing well, guys. How about y'all?
Man, great day for Pillowy Fluff Delicious Daylight Donuts.
Yeah, it's a great day if you like them frozen. Pretty cool out here, Nick.
It is a little chilly. It is
at least I put on long pants.
Yeah, you got to wear the long pants in the ballpark today. I was chiming in on y'all's question I heard y'all ask about is North Carolina State or LSU a better job? I don't think that's as simple of an answer as some people are trying to make it out. If you look at how this season went, North Carolina State probably is a better job than LSU. But if LSU decides to take men's basketball seriously, they're going to lap NC State because you look at how the coaching searches are going right now. NC State is the third, maybe fourth best program in their own state. LSU is the sleeping giant that no one really seems to care about too much. But if they're really going to put this much money in NIL together, LSU could instantly become a very good team. I kind of harken back to my childhood days. Tech was always the best women's basketball program because they cared about it. Then Title IX got passed, and all the schools had to start spending money on women's sports. So LSU was like, if we're going to have to spend the money, we might as well get good at it. So LSU in the late 90s, early 2000s ended up lapping Tech. They have to look back since. And I kind of feel like that's what's going to happen with LSU men's basketball now. They kind of just went back and forth. I mean, they had Dale Brown back in the day. They had Brady and a few other pretty good coaches, but they never took the program that seriously. And then Wade came in, had them going, made a few missteps there, and we all know that if it wasn't for the threat to the football program, Will Wade would still be the coach at LSU. He wasn't fired because of any sanctions he brought on the basketball program. He was fired
for
a
sacrificial
lamb. Sanctions. The what?
I said he was a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, he was a sacrificial lamb because, LSU don't care about men's basketball. So, I mean, if those same allegations would have happened in baseball, they wouldn't have fired the baseball coach. So, now that you've got what seems to be the promise of a $10 to $12 million NIL budget, I think LSU men's basketball is going to jump from one of the programs that nobody even knew about to something worth watching.
Okay, Quint, you're the accountants. Where's this money coming from? I mean, this is an insane amount of money to buy out Brian Kelly, to bring in Lane Kiffin for his staff, what the football team has for NIL, what the baseball has for NIL, what they're paying that staff, what Mulkey and her staff are getting paid, what that basketball $8 million buyout, what you're paying for Wade, his assistants, his assistant, what they're where's this money? And everybody just thinks like alumni and collectives are just coughing it up. This is an insane amount of money.
I would agree, and I really don't know
people
where the
keep talking about the governor. I just hope it's all private money.
Yeah, given our history in statewide politics, you'd never know.
So I don't know.
I don't know where that means.
It's just like, man, and this is a public university, public school. A lot of this stuff shouldn't be super private. It ought to be accessible. But it's just like, I'm off if they win and they got it and it's all. But man, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and I say, I don't know where all the buyout money.
And it's not going to go down either.
No,
that's the crazy thing. Your numbers aren't going down, and you've had some schools, talk about. I think it was University of Arkansas overwhelmingly, voted down the students putting any money into the athletic programs. This is like 6 or 7 to 1. No, we're not contributing any money to this.
Preacher, I don't. Here's a hint. I didn't catch the whole segment that Fox had yesterday afternoon, but he had a segment where he mentioned that all the changes at LSU are rooted in the football team having a great success next year with Kiffin as coach. So my guess is too, some of this is going to come with being able to make more money off the football team, because we all know the football team supports everything else.
Well, you had before all this NIL started, most athletic departments were breaking even to making maybe in the SEC $5 or $10 million. And then you just see this insane money thrown out, and you're just kind of like scratching your head. Whether it was LSU or Alabama or Michigan or whoever, that's just like, are we getting another $50 to $75 million a year in donations? I mean, it's just one of those head scratchers. I would hate to be an athletic director.
Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
All right, well, Quinn, man, Quinn, appreciate you calling in. Thanks as always for listening to the show. You have a great weekend.
You guys do the same, Nick. Thanks.
All right, you listen to the Nick Brown Show, the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll read some of those texts when we come back. We'll be right back after this break.
Many of us are involved in auto accidents, and it's not uncommon that you may not be sore immediately after the accident, but that all changes after a few days when you begin to experience pain and inflammation. You call your regular physician, find out they don't treat auto accidents. What do? Call Dr. Bob Rendina at Chiro Network Chiropractic Clinic in Ruston. They've always treated auto accident injuries. Chiropractic treatments work to get your neck and back aligned and moving again to reduce the pain and inflammation so you can feel good again. When you hurt from an injury, call us at Chiro Network in Ruston. We'll do our best to help you feel good again.
Okay, so clearly the word is out about Country Pleasin' sausage. Thank you for helping make Country Pleasin' your go-to sausage on game day. From original to jalapeno and cheese, black pepper cheddar, even crawfish and pork, we can't get enough at Sports Talk 97.7, and it seems like you can't either. Check for Country Pleasin' at your local retailer, and for additional flavors, check them out at countrypleasin.com. That's countrypleasin.com.
This is Brandon Kraft, General Manager at Homes Plus. This tax season, we have gotten with our factories to offer our customers guaranteed build times. So don't just spend your tax return, invest it into the next place you will call home. And everyone be on the lookout for the all-new tiny home coming soon. Get the plus, Homes Plus. So come see us on Highway 165 North in Monroe or visit us at homesplus.com.
Don't let concerns about current events derail your long-term financial strategy. Hi, I'm Edward Jones, financial advisor Jeremy Hebert, and I'm here to help. We can work together to understand today's financial landscape and make sure you achieve your goals. While you can't control market volatility, you can control your financial future. Let's connect. Start by giving me a call at 318-251-9200.
Member SIPC.
You know what that sound means. It's time for the Pillowy Fluff Delicious Daylight Donut. Go visit them at 108 Monticello Avenue in Ruston, just north of I-20. They're open Monday, 5:30 to 10:30 a.m., Tuesday through Friday, 5:30 to 11:30 a.m., and on Saturday and Sunday from 6 to 12. Daylight Donuts of Ruston, proudly supporting the Nick Brown Show for the last 10 years. Ask for a wedding cake-filled donut. It's the Nick Brown Show favorite.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some black coffee.
Of course, you can get black coffee and all your favorite coffee beverages at the Depot Coffee Shop. The Depot Coffee Shop is located at 211 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Ruston. The Depot Coffee Shop is coffee with a cause. The Depot Coffee Shop is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 to 3. Call in your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop.
Show.
Welcome back to the Nick Brown Show on the Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be taking applications for board op and text readers. Cheerman.
That's been your line for what? What are we going on? 13 years now?
Yes. No one's applied.
Yeah.
You know, I meant that the other day when I said been married 25 years. Most people can't stand me for 25 minutes, much less 20. All right, I'm going to surprise you, Tabor. You're not that far off. In men's basketball, LSU has made it to 4 Final Fours. You know how many NC State has made? 4. Now, NC State has won 2 titles. Go back to 74. Was that Sloan, Norm Sloan, and
David
83?
David Thompson.
David Thompson. So 74 and 83. Overall winning percentage. NC State wins that one with a 61% winning percentage all time, 1,863 to 1,173. LSU not that far behind with a 57% winning percentage at 1,684 to 1,288. Here's where it gets interesting. NC State has won 13, and I'm going back to every conference they've been in. NC State has won 13 regular season conference championships. Okay? LSU, on the other hand, you look at their regular season conference champion is 1.
Really?
Excuse me. LSU has been LSU has been conference tournament champions once, but when it comes to regular season champions, 14.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it's a draw again.
Push.
It
It's
is
kind of historically in the SEC. It's LSU, Alabama, Tennessee. I mean, about 40 titles behind Kentucky, but LSU's been right there as maybe the second, third best program. You know, it's kind of like they're so up and down, up and down.
So LSU has won 14 regular season conference championships. NC State's only won 13. You go to the NCAA tournament, the overall record for the Wolfpack is 41 and 29. LSU is 500 at 27 and 27. So, you could call it a push program. The numbers are not, but everybody remembers, obviously, Lorenzo Charles and Derek
looking
Wittenberg.
for somebody to hug.
Yes, and that puts that program there. And now you go what the preacher man has already said. You're the number 1 program in the state.
How long do you keep living off that? That was 43 years ago.
It's hard to believe.
I don't want to diminish it, but in a what have you done for me lately business, what have you done for me lately?
You know, if NC State were smart.
And then you fired the guy that did get you to the Final Four recently.
Okay. Could we have it will never happen because Carolina people are not that way. But, man, can you imagine if – and I know if you're not a basketball junkie, you're probably not enjoying the show. But can you imagine if NC State made an announcement on Monday that Hubert Davis has been named the new head coach at NC State?
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
It would be. But I don't think Carolina – you don't think of Carolina as really being turncoat, but would you view him as a turncoat? I wouldn't.
No, because Carolina fired him.
That's who I would push for, Hubert Davis. I mean, you look at his numbers. Numbers are parallel. And, all right, are the expectations greater at NC State than they are at LSU? I think there ought to be par.
Amongst their fan base, probably. Because I think they hang their hat on basketball.
I would agree. Text that we have rolling in today.
Yeah, we got a few texts. FS has a few on NC State. He says, remember the title of Valvano's book? They gave me a lifetime contract, and then they declared me dead, which was actually the title of a book that he did. He also mentions, just talking about money, the athletic department budget at the University of Texas is $300 million. I think it's like $375 million this year. A ridiculous amount of money, but that's like the New York Yankees of revenue. I mean, you just look at things like schools push their endowments. Most SEC schools have a $1 to $2 billion endowment. Texas is like $35 billion. So they have an insane amount of money.
You ever know that the preacher man, it really is, he knows all the financials of everything. By the way, those watching on social media today, good luck to it's the travel season. The Teal Magnolias competing down in Destin, Florida. They never have like these competitions. Like you go to them, the cheerman goes to them in Orlando. They never have them in like Toledo. Chuck checking in. That's what they're like. Cheer competition. We're going to Toledo. It's a great city. home of the Rockets. It's interesting today, so I know that the Brown family is dividing and conquering today because good luck to all of those making the trip to Lake Charles for the state wrestling championship.
There we go, yeah.
So I wear my wrestling sweatshirt
first
today.
First year for Ruston to get into wrestling, so a great way for more kids to get involved.
It actually is a unique, I know nothing about it. But I know that obviously you get a pin, but I don't know the points, how you get the points, but very interesting. So safe travels to all of those.
We got one text, and you being a former high school basketball coach, maybe you can chime in on this, and it says Louisiana high school basketball is way behind. A large part of this is lack of lack of a shot clock. This must change. Discuss.
Who is that from?
I just got a 318. I might could scroll back.
No, you're good. I will tell you. I will agree with that statement, but I'm going to agree with it from a different standpoint. You go up and I had a pleasure of working with several Louisiana coaches that were very good. Never called Barry Canterbury Barry to his face. The X's and O's that he knew, the late Tommy Joe Eagles, and watching them, the preparation. I go to a gym and handle play-by-play for a lot of high school basketball. Let's name a few things real quick. Athletes are stronger now. Basketball players are stronger. They can jump higher and they can run faster. A lot of the games that I had the opportunity, and Cheerman was the color on a lot of those games and did stats for them, and he can verify this. Not just my opinion. This is my opinion, but it's through an observation. It's more of just athleticism, who has the best athletes, and then when you get to a championship game, Zachary and Ruston, it is not as much a strategy as you used to see. So do I think a shot clock would bring in more strategy? I think it would, but I will tell you, watching the games that we played, there were not that many possessions that went. If you 25, 30, 45 second, whatever it may be, the shot clock might actually favor some teams. So it's interesting, but I don't see that much strategy. I'm not knocking any coach because if you have an athlete that can run and jump higher, but they're the low post moves that I've seen, a 15-foot jump shot. Everyone can, the 12 to 15-foot jump shot is gone. So it's either you're around the rim, dunking it, kicking it off the glass, or you're shooting a three. So your 15-foot in jump shot is not really a part of the game anymore. So, but I will agree with you that we're behind as far as you don't see where do you see the players, the top players in Louisiana going? You look, and Preacher Man and Cheerman will put you on that assignment. Why don't you look at the rosters of the teams that are left in the NCAA tournament? And I'm gonna narrow it down for you so you don't have to go that much. You can go to the Sweet 16, or you can go just to the Elite 8, or right now we're down to 12. So if you want to go to those and just see when we get down to the Elite 8, the 8 teams, how many players from Louisiana are on those rosters. I mean, you could do that. And here's the thing. That's not an indictment against the state of Louisiana. I think that's an indictment against basketball across the South. Now, I could make the same thing. Go look at the college football national championship rosters.
Simply, it's number 3 in the pecking order in the state.
Okay, I would agree with that.
Behind football and baseball.
And you're seeing an influx of, making up that shooting deficit is kids coming from overseas, in the NBA and stuff is where you're really seeing that get picked up. But I mean, you're 16, 17 years old, you're playing against grown men.
Look at Illinois.
Yeah.
They got half of Eastern Europe on their team. And Paige Stojakovic's son.
But you look at their coach as well, though. And this is one thing that I really
Underwood.
Yeah, I like him.
I do too.
But here's the thing: he cut his teeth. You look at him. Where's he from? He's from the state of
Texas.
Well, he's from the state of Kansas originally. He went to Kansas State. There's something about basketball in the state of Kansas. I told you years ago. Went out and watched Louisiana Tech play Kansas in football. Broke into Fog Allen. Actually, that is the one place that I will appreciate the University of Kansas. Brother-in-law Bo. We broke into Fog Allen. There were no radars, no alarms. Was not arrested for that breaking and entering, and they were painting Fog Allen Fieldhouse. But you look where he coached. You look at some Stephen F. Austin going to the Southland when he was there, Oklahoma State, just for 1 or 2 seasons, and now at Illinois, but Brad Underwood. So I really enjoy watching all of these, what you call Cinderella, and has Cinderella really gone away because of the tournament format? But great question.
And there's also some talk, and I don't know, I've only watched a little AAU basketball. Again, it also very much encourages the text here, Brownie. I'm getting all my new North Carolina friends up here to secretly support LSU by getting them to go eat at the new Raising Cane's in Jacksonville, North Carolina.
There you go. Support it. That would definitely help.
That's why I think you all need to get gas at Pilot. Keep going to Pilot and filling up.
You listen to The Nick Brown Show, The Nick Brown Show Network. We'll be right back after this break.
Friends, this is Skip Russell, your #1 insurance agent in Ruston for the past 42 years. I want you to know that I would be proud to be your insurance agent. Come by and check out our new lower rates on automobile insurance. Call us at 255-5050 or come by our office at 105 Reynolds Drive in Ruston. That's behind Wendy's and Captain D's. Thank you.
I'm hashing over an ethical dilemma, so I think I could use some black coffee.
Of course, you can get black coffee and all your favorite coffee beverages at the Depot Coffee Shop. The Depot Coffee Shop is located at 211 West Railroad Avenue in downtown Ruston. The Depot Coffee Shop is coffee with a cause. The Depot Coffee Shop is open Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and on Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. and on Saturdays from 8 to 3. Call in your order at 232-7084 or visit the Depot Coffee Shop.
ProVision Security, preserving your past, protecting your future. Cameras, doorbell cameras, systems you can control all from your smartphone. Security systems with low monthly monitoring starting at $14.99. ProVision Security is more than security. Sound systems, hanging your flat screen TV, speakers in your ceiling, even Wi-Fi systems. ProVision Security, 314 East Georgia in Ruston. Call Michael at 773-3703. Check him out on Facebook. ProVision Security.
Hey guys, the gals aren't the only ones that care about their look. Let Adrienne Russell or Dara Davis at La Bella Salon give you just the right hairstyle. Need a massage? Mamie Lee is their massage therapist and can work out those sore, tired muscles. Go ahead, schedule an appointment today. Call La Bella Salon 202-5848. La Bella Salon, 105 Reynolds Drive, next to Skip Russell State Farm in Ruston. What are you waiting for? Now's a great time to give them a call. La Bella Salon, 202-5848. Walk-ins welcome.
When Brownie buys bourbon, it's at the Keg Package. Operating since 1972, the Keg Package has been serving the Ruston Grambling community for over 50 years. The Hightowers purchased the Keg in 2005 and built a new prime location in 2013 on the Tarbutton exit. They offer a wide variety of hard-to-find beer, wine, and liquor. They also have over 20 flavors of delicious frozen drinks. You can purchase Best Stop Boudin and sausage along with Louisiana Tech steaks. Come experience Divine Wine and the Keg Package.
Hey, Tech fans! Want to know what's going on inside La Tech Athletics? Join us each week for Bleed Tech Blue Radio, Tuesdays at 6 on Sports Talk 97.7. Host Ben Carlisle, publisher of BleedTechBlue.com, talks with coaches and players and takes your calls and texts. He's up to date and you can be too. Bleed Tech Blue Radio, brought to you by Louisiana National Bank, the Uncommon Bank. Tuesdays at 6 on Sports Talk 97.7. Get in the game. Now, back to the Nick Brown Show.
Still will go down as the greatest fight song in all. And if you get to hear the Texas A&M band play it live, we're going to bring in the cheerman statistician. We were asked about the overall basketball in the high school basketball in the state of Louisiana. Well, you look at it, we're down to the Elite Eight making that move, and now we're going to bring in the cheerman, our stat guru. Now, you look at the southern states traditionally, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, even going to Little Tennessee. I will tell you this, the University of Alabama, who was defeated last night, one player from the state of Alabama. Now, and that is Philon. LeBaron is from Mobile, but you go through, and now Aiden Holloway is from Carolina. So Aiden Holloway, the Auburn transfer, did go to Prolific Prep in Charlotte. So you go through, there's one player on the University of Alabama's team from the state of Alabama. And I'm not going to walk on specifically, but majority of them. But you found something interesting this morning.
Yeah, so far the only player that we have found from the South, other than Texas, we'll exclude Texas. Texas, big enough population, they're probably going to have at least 3 or 4. But Cade Phillips, a junior on the Tennessee Volunteers, he's a forward. He is from Jacksonville, Alabama. But so far, that's been the only Southern player we've been able to find in the Elite
and he's
Eight.
out. He's been out all year with an injury, so he's not
there
even
we go.
played.
So one player of that from Southern states in the Elite Eight. What does that mean? You go back to the days with Georgetown. Remember the guards from Chris Jackson, who was from Gulfport, played at LSU. Those successful LSU teams. You just go look at the players from the Deep South that have made significant runs in the NCAA tournament. You go through all the players from Murrah High School in Jackson, Mississippi. You go through a lot of them. They're just not there anymore. Love your thoughts and opinions at 888-993-7762. Again, 888-993-7762. Let's take a break just for a minute and not talk about baseball, not talk about basketball. Talk about what happened yesterday with Tiger Woods. Now, I'm going to go back through. I'm a lot older than everyone except the Preacher Man. I can remember when Tiger Woods came on Johnny Carson's show. But you go back and look, and you have the money. Why not get a driver? You're in Jupiter Island, Florida.
Get a Tesla that'll self-drive.
So basically, you attempted to pass someone. It was hauling a pressure washer, which does that even matter? But Wood swerved to avoid the truck, but clipped the back of the trailer. And the Land Rover flipped on its side and slid down the road. So now, will that affect his invitation as far as coaching or being a member of any other teams? Now, he is it's going to be interesting to see. He's player director on the PGA Tour policy, PGA Tour Enterprises. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like the Masters is April the 9th. Will Tiger Woods be there? But it's kind of like, what is his legacy? You go through with Tiger. Is he going to be more remembered for this off the courts, all of these actions, or is it going to be remembered for his play?
I mean, I think it'll be it's kind of sad to see what happened, but man, he's so I mean, other than Jack Nicklaus in my lifetime, I guess before that was Arnold Palmer. But I mean, he just brought so many eyeballs to golf. I mean, people became interested, wanted to watch, and when his prime, he was so stinking dominant that it's just hard to get past that part of the game. And he's actually having a lot of success now. Top Golf is kind of fading, and he's brought in this big corporate putt-putt thing that has taken off in several locations across the country. So businessman-wise, but yeah, it's just kind of right now a sad chapter that you hope he can correct. But no, I don't think he can ever overshadow what he did.
I would agree. I hope you remember more for the play on the course and how he basically. You go look a few years ago, and I'll relate it to this. A few years ago, baseball, MLB, attention had already gone down in the sport. It was dwindling, and then you had the Bash Brothers in St. Louis. You had McGwire, Sosa, the home run race really kind of revitalized MLB, and I think Tiger Woods definitely did that for golf, and hope that is what you remember him for, as opposed to the driving ability or lack thereof. Real quick, we're going to touch on this. Back to women's basketball. Years ago, made it out to Lubbock, Texas. Texas Tech, get your guns up. We made it out to Lubbock, and we were going to watch. So a doubleheader between the Red Raiders, led by Bobby Knight, and the women played as well, led by Christy Curry. Well, Christy Curry got us tickets to the game, and boy, Ricky Durrett was so excited. We had free tickets. They're going to be great. We sat at the very top of the United Center, and I told Ricky, he says, man, he bragged about how we were going to have great seats. I told him, I said, Ricky, if you were even better friends with him, we'd be in heaven right now, because that's how high up we were. So we texted down to Christy Curry, and immediately we were moved to some floor seats, and it turned out to be the last game that Bobby Knight ever coached, and I have that ticket from that game. But interesting enough, and Chuck sent it in, Christy Curry left the University of Alabama for the University of South Florida. Now, you look at what Christy Curry was able to do at the University of Alabama, and they did lose out to Louisville. But as far as the money for the program, I read that it was 16th out of 16 in the SEC. But should you put money – now, Greg Byrne, athletic director at the University of Alabama, said she did a commendable job. Now, I will tell you, if someone tells me I did a commendable job, to me that means you could have done better. And I look at that. So –
man, Alabama women's basketball was so terrible, and she came in and has really elevated it. But again, here's the hard decisions athletic directors have to make. Obviously, at Alabama, we care about football way beyond anything else. Nate Oates has got us really interested in basketball. They would like to be, I think, be competitive in baseball and are having a really good year this year. Softball, they've been pretty decent at. At some point as an athletic director, you have to go, hey, yeah, we could put more money in this, but what's the return on it? So I don't know. Did she leave because of that, or she leave because Alabama says, okay, we want to take this thing to a whole nother level, and they're about to throw a lot of money in it?
I don't know. You have to go back. Rick Moody used to be the head coach of the Lady Crimson Tide and went to the second round several times, the Final Four. Had a run of Sweet 16, and they get 4 Sweet 16 runs in a row. You got to go back. So I think that's when you're looking at the heyday